Ella hadn't been to a zoo in years. Not since she was a child holding her father's hand, staring wide-eyed at giraffes and penguins, asking questions that never seemed to end. Today she went alone. Not with excitement, but with curiosity, wondering how it would feel now, through older eyes. The zoo sat on the edge of the city, tucked behind tall trees and rolling green hills. It opened at 9, and Ella arrived just as the gates swung open. A few families were already there, parents pushing strollers, kids clinging to stuffed animals, teachers holding clipboards and head counts. She entered slowly. The air was fresh, touched by the earthy scent of mulch, damp leaves, and a hint of animal musk. Birds chirped overhead, and in the distance, a lion let out a low rumbling call that vibrated through her chest. Her first stop was the flamingos. A splash of pink against the gray morning light, they stood still and elegant, balancing on one leg like meditating dancers. One of them blinked at her. She blinked back. Nearby, a toddler squealed, pointing. Ella smiled and jotted in her notebook. Flamingos do not ask to be seen. But you can't look away. As she wandered further, the zoo began to bloom with life. At the penguin enclosure, keepers tossed small silver fish, and the birds darted through the water with joyful speed. A child beside her gasped, "They're flying underwater." And they were. Effortlessly. Ella crouched to their level, watching bubbles swirl behind black and white bodies. She moved next to the reptile house. Dimly lit and warm, it smelled like stone and heat. She watched a chameleon turn from green to golden, its eyes moving in separate directions. A python lay coiled in a perfect spiral. A gecko clung upside down to the glass. Children pressed their noses to the enclosures, some fascinated, some afraid. Outside, the sun had risen higher. The big cat stirred. A cheetah paced gracefully behind the brush, its eyes alert. Lions lay sprawled in a patch of light, one of them yawning wide enough to show teeth like ivory scythes. She stood there a long while, hypnotized by their stillness. She wrote, "There is stillness in their power, and power in their stillness." The zoo's heart, though, was the primate area. Ella stood before the gorilla habitat, watching as a massive silverback sat beneath a tree, chewing slowly, eyes heavy with thought. Beside him, a younger one rolled in the grass. A mother groomed her child, fingers moving gently through black fur. Then it happened. The silverback looked at her. Not just at her, but into her, like a question, or an echo. Time stopped. In that moment, she felt more seen than she had in days. Maybe weeks. Not judged. Not analyzed. Just acknowledged. She stepped back, hand on her chest. "We are not so different," she wrote. "But we pretend we are." At noon, she sat beneath a shaded pergola near the picnic area. Families unwrapped sandwiches. A father chased his son with a piece of fruit. A little girl fed crackers to a squirrel, who accepted them with shocking civility. Ella ate a rice ball she had packed, sipping iced tea from a thermos. The zoo was filled now, laughter, squeals, footsteps, questions. But beneath it all, a gentle rhythm beat on, breath, movement, observation. In the afternoon she visited the elephants. Majestic, towering, quiet. They moved in slow unison, their trunks curling to toss dust or reach for hay. One of them brushed its trunk gently across another's shoulder. A sign read, "They remember everything." Ella believed it. She watched a boy press both hands to the glass, mirroring an orangutan who did the same. The two of them, one in denim, one in fur, locked eyes, hands, and some invisible thread of shared being. She wandered into the aviary next. Birds darted above her, splashes of color and music. A toucan blinked slowly. A parrot whistled the opening of a song she couldn't place. A pair of finches preened one another in the branches overhead. She stood there, surrounded by flight, by voices, by 100 versions of freedom. And for a moment, she felt like part of the flock. Then she took a detour to the nocturnal house. Inside, the lighting reversed the day. Bats flew above her head in near silence. Owls blinked slowly from their perches. A slow loris crept across a branch like a drop of molasses in motion. Every creature seemed to carry mystery on its fur, feathers, or scales. She watched a pangolin uncoil, stretch, and then disappear into a log. By late afternoon, the zoo began to thin. Children napped in strollers. Parents checked watches. Keepers swept walkways and refilled troughs. The animals moved slowly, preparing for dusk. Ella walked one more loop, slower this time. She sat again by the gorilla enclosure. The silverback was asleep now, chest rising and falling in a deep rhythm. A breeze moved through the leaves, and in that moment, she felt more peaceful than she had in months. She wrote, "The zoo is not a prison, nor is it a paradise. It is a mirror, a place where wonder outweighs the fences, and recognition flickers behind the eyes of another species." Before leaving, she stopped at the gift shop. Not for toys or souvenirs, but for a single pencil carved with a giraffe at the top. She would use it, she decided, to write stories for children. As she exited through the tall iron gates, the sky had begun to turn orange. Somewhere deep inside the zoo, the gorilla yawned. The flamingos tucked one leg beneath their feathers. And the lions, silent and watching, waited for stars. Ella stepped into the fading light, heart both lighter and heavier, notebook filled, eyes wide open. And as she walked back into the world of cars and crosswalks, she whispered, "Thank you for reminding me how to see."